But I didn't really connect the songs to the artists. You know, I didn't really make that connection.
Why? How come?
It was just a song on the radio to
Okay.
me, you know? I didn't, I don't know why. You know, I mean, it was fun. I mean, I remember, you know, certainly Chubby Checker with the twist, you know, his remake of Hank Ballard's. Hank Ballard actually had a hit with it earlier, a couple of years earlier, but Chubby Checker remade this song called The Twist, which was a huge, huge record and had huge impact socially as well. That was the introduction of the swinging 60s, you know, as we call them.
What do you mean socially as well?
Sorry?
What do you mean by the phrase socially as well was a big impact?
Socially, I mean, it was the first time, I think, what was called adults and what was called teenagers found some common ground. It was the first time, I think, adults started to join that sort of liberating quality that teenagers were inventing at the time. There was no such thing as teenagers until the 50s. It was an invention of the 50s because of the post-World War II atmosphere, you know. So this new group of people that up until then was just this uncomfortable age in between adolescence and adulthood, you know, all of a sudden became a market. It became a demographic. They became a group.
Did I say 13 until 19 or something?
Yes, 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 13 to 19, somewhere in there. And all of a sudden, you know, they started to move the marketplace. You know, all of a sudden things started to be created for them. This had never happened in history, you know. And so, you know, adults were finding it, started to find it both frightening and then started to become amused by it a bit, you know, and started to have some fun with it. And it loosened them up a little bit too. So the Twist was the first time that dancing became really popular in the well, rock, dancing to rock and roll was you know, it was the beginning of that, and anyway, that was the first time I remember associating an artist with a record because it was such a big record, and Chubby Checker was associated with the Twist, you know, and he would show everybody how to do this dance, and everyone was doing this dance, and it was a very interesting moment. It was the most sexually provocative dance since I don't know when. And it was a little bit. You know, you could do hours on it, but it was interesting that it was sexually provocative, yet it was the first time people danced without touching each other. So it's a bit odd.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know?
So more seducing each other, maybe.
You know, I mean, and you knew who the Four Seasons were. I mean, Frankie Valli was our Frank Sinatra of our generation, you know.
But I was thinking, you were saying the first dance that was, well, I think it's the Twist was maybe the first time people wanted to seduce one another by not touching each other.
Well, there was a number of factors
Yeah.
were coming together at that time. Okay, the birth control pill was invented. Yeah. Hugh Hefner had published the Playboy Philosophy. Extraordinarily important moment in social history by saying for the first time, sex can be just fun. You know, it's not just for practical purposes of having children. Sex, actually, it's okay to have sex just for fun. This was the first time this was ever really said. You know, so that idea was born at the same time as a birth control pill, and then you combine that with the Twist, and I think you have a bit of a, you know, a three sort of a trinity of liberation going on there, you know, a bit, you know, sexual liberation.